What's up, my restored beauties? Welcome back to my channel. It is Wednesday, July 29th, 2020. Summer is almost over. Yeah, pretty crazy, right? This Saturday would be 2 months exactly since I gave birth. I wanted to talk about the night before, the night that I got induced and what happened in the hospital. So when you go in the hospital, they assign you with a nurse that is going to take care of you for whatever hours the nurse has there. So it's either, or whatever time you are there, it's either 8 hours, 12 hours, whatever. So at first, when they were preparing me to put me into the room where I was going to give birth, they gave me this young girl. She was a nurse. She was very sweet, but then her shift finished, and so I was like, oh God, who's it gonna be, you know, because it all depends. How some nurses really have attitudes, and I've had experiences with certain nurses that, you know, you just don't feel welcome there, you know, they make you feel so bad. So this one was so nice, and then she had to leave, and I was like to my husband, oh man, you know, I hope that we get a good nurse, because I was gonna be there for a while, you know, and then plus, you know, I was there to give birth, so you want to make sure, you know, you're praying that you get a good one. So she leaves, the young girl, and then they send me in this nurse, and it was an elderly man, okay, a gentleman. At first I could not stand him, okay, simply because he was just like so slow. He would talk so slow, do things very slow, take forever to talk, and I was just like, oh God, we're gonna be here for a long time. So, but anyway, God knows why you meet certain people, and I'm convinced that everything in life, I'm convinced that God always moves with a purpose. There's never something in life that happened without him having a purpose. Even if it's a bad thing that will happen to us, God will turn that around and have a good purpose and get for it and get something good out of it, you know, if we trust God. The nurse and me and my husband were there. We're getting to know each other, you know, and I could tell he's very talkative, and I like to talk too. So as they were inducing me, you know, he was checking my vitals and making sure, you know, that the baby's heartbeat was good and everything, all that procedure, okay. And we're just talking, and so one thing led to another. We're talking about, it was the time when the riots and the protesters and all that stuff was going on in New York, in May, end of May. So we were talking about, you know, how crazy it's getting out there, how scary it is, and then one thing led to another, you know, and somehow we ended up talking about God and the Bible and Christian faith and end times and things that are happening. And I'm passionate about this. I love talking about God. I love sharing anytime I can to encourage people to trust God, because a lot of people have this misconception that so many bad things must be happening in our lives because God just forgotten about us, God just turned his back on us, and he just doesn't care. Why people are always like wondering, oh, if there is a God, why does he let all this happen? Well, there's always a reason for everything, and it always takes back to the beginning. So me and this nurse, this gentleman, were going back and forth talking about deep faith stuff, Bible verses, Bible stuff, really deep. And he before we get there, we were talking about, you know, like he asked me where I'm from, you know, and we're talking, I'm telling him where I'm from originally, and ended up talking about, I said something, no, he said something that he was just like, you know, he said, I believe the Bible and I believe God, but he's like, this is just too much, you know, why is God letting all this thing happen? And I just don't believe, I don't believe in a higher power anymore, you know. And it was just discouraging to hear him. And I said, well, I said, I respectfully, you know, I said, disagree, and I was telling him how I went through war 22 years ago. Apologize for my neighbor's dogs. And I said how, you know, how my whole family went through, and how many family members we lost. And then he had known about the war in my country, and he actually went to visit the people who did the war, who started the war in my country. So the country, he went to visit them, and then he told me how everything was a lie. And I was like, he said it was a lie. I'm like, it wasn't a lie. I said, I lost 7 members of my family, including my father. I went through war. I experienced it personally. I said, it's not a lie. I can prove to you that it's not a lie. You know, I went through every single day of it for 2-3 years we went. And not to mention that we were for over 100 years under the communism socialism regime, you know. And I said, it's all real. I can sit down and talk to you for days about things that we have experienced as a people, as a country. And so he's like, oh, I'm disappointed now that those people lied to me. Apparently he had gone there after the war in that country, and he was practicing his nursing career. So, but then they had told him lies about my people, my country. So anyway, finally I cleared that on him. But my whole point is getting back to God and his faith. So mind you, this guy is an elderly, okay? He is pretty old in his age, not bad. I don't know, he must have been 60 for sure. He must have been 60. Never married, he said. So, but apparently you could tell in his voice, the way he was talking, that, you know, he's like, he didn't want to be disrespectful and saying that, you know, God forgot about him, or he doesn't believe anymore. But he did say that I said something that changed his life. He said that I said something he has been searching for years, all his life, to hear. And he said, while I was talking, he got the answer. And I didn't know what he meant, because I was just sharing, you know, I was talking. And then he told me what I said. So this is what I said. When we were talking about the riots and the protesting and all the people that were destroying New York City at end of May this year, I said to him that we as adults have the free will. God has given us the free will all the way from the beginning in the creation. When he created Adam and Eve, he gave them the free will. They were created with the free will, which means you can do whatever you want when you have the free will, and God cannot interfere with your free will. Not that he can't, because he's God. He can, he has that power, but he won't. Okay, because he created you with the free will. Because if he does, then we are not humans. We are considered puppets, and we are not puppets. Okay, you're a human being. You have a free will. You can exercise your free will for good or for bad. Okay, once you are old enough to know between good and evil, you can choose which side to pick. So when Eve chose to eat from the tree, from the apple from the tree that God had said not to eat, she chose, because she was tempted by the devil. She made her choice, and now we all have been, you know, suffering the consequences, but she made her choice. Okay, no one said to her, God could have prevented her, but she had the choice. Okay, the devil tempted her, she had a choice, she made her choice. So we all have the same free will. So we are not puppets, we're humans. We have the free will, like I said, to pick however we want our life to be. You know, I have a choice right now to stay home, be a good girl, do the things that I do every day, be a good mother, take care of my kids. Or I also have the choice to go out there, break a bank, or go in my neighbor's backyard and steal whatever I can steal. That's my choice. That's my free will. I have that. Now, is that allowed? Is it beneficial? No. So you make your choice based upon your own understanding, based upon your own logic, based upon your own knowledge. How? Because like I always said, if you don't see better, you don't do better. As kids, as children, if we don't see better growing up, we don't do better in life. Okay, so this guy, this nurse, was like, he was writing, and as I'm explaining to him how God is giving us a free will and that we make our own choices, because I was sharing with him that, you know, many times I've argued with God, and I always said to God, God, you could have stopped me. Why did you let me make that decision? Why did you let me fall into that temptation? Or why couldn't you stop me, God? I know you're God, your potential, you can do it. I never got an answer besides that God has given me the free will, you know. I chose, not him. God didn't push me. And so as I'm talking to him, this nurse says, that's the answer. He said, that's exactly what I've been looking all my life. Why? He said, I always wondered why God lets us make the choices that we make. Sorry. Instead of just interfering with us and directing and allowing us, or helping us to make right choices, or to decide better, or to choose better, to use our free will to do good. He said, I always wondered why God didn't intervene. He said, and now I know, because we have been given the free will to choose, because we're humans and not puppets. And he just paused for a while, and he was just taking it in. It was just like this revelation had happened to him, and it was awesome to hear it. And it felt like he looked like he finally had found peace and closure to something that he said he's been searching for all his life. And it blurred out, it just came out of me. I had no idea, you know. I just felt like God was using me to talk, you know. And also because I saw the need. I saw him craving to understand God, and I saw that he had a soft spirit, and I saw that he had just a slight misunderstanding with God, you know. And if you do have that, you know, the tendency is for us to go for years in life misunderstanding God, and staying away from him, and thinking that he doesn't want nothing to do with us because of bad choices that we might have made in life, or maybe because we're just so bad all the time, we keep falling into the same mistake, or making the same mistakes, and we're not doing better. But it's so wrong. That's the devil, that's the enemy trying to keep us away from God, you know. God understands us. He knows our nature. He just needs to hear it coming from us, and he needs to see us pursuing him and going after him. And no matter how many times you make mistakes, no matter how many times you fall, you and me, if you repent and go back to God and seek him and search him with all your heart, he's always there. He is always there with an open door to receive you, to receive us, no matter what we do, as long as we repent and turn around from what we think keeps us away from God. Because it's not God, it's our free will that chooses to stay away from him. I can choose one whole week not to pray, not to read my Bible, not to be nice to my husband, to be mean. I can choose that. I can do that. Trust me, we can all do evil by ourselves. We can all do good by ourselves. It's the choice that we make that comes out of our free will. The free will is the most powerful thing that has ever been given to mankind, and also the most dangerous thing. Okay, so I felt like, and after the nurse left our room, I turned to my husband, and I felt such peace, because I felt like this guy, and I just looked at my husband, I said, look at that, look at him in his age. All these years he's been struggling to to understand why, to understand God. He's been living with that lie. He's been deceived. He's been searching for the truth, and finally he hears it, and he has such peace. But I felt sad that all these years this guy has been isolated and kept himself away from God because of a lie, because he's been deceived in his mind. You know, that's why I'm so passionate about us and our mental and working in maintaining and always having positive thoughts, and always having a clear mind, always having no wonder the Bible says, no wonder there's a verse in the Bible that says renew your mind daily, renew your mind in God, because it has to be done daily, because daily the enemy, the devil, will attack our mind, because right here, what goes on right here will come out of our mouth, and eventually it will become life, whether it's good or bad. Whatever you believe here, whatever you and I believe here in our mind, it's going to become life. If you believe in your mind that you're capable to do something, eventually you will do it. You're gonna do it. If you believe that you're not capable, if you believe that if you have low self-esteem, if you believe that you're such a bad person, that God does not want to do nothing with you, that's exactly what's going to be your reality. So that's why I'm passionate in helping people think differently, you know, think differently, because this right here in our mind is our second heart. You know, our mind is where everything is brewed. So can you imagine that guy living with that lie all his life? And if he had just read the Bible, you know, I'm sure God would have revealed to him the truth, you know, about God giving us the free will, and about God's love, and how we can stay in touch with him through his word every day. And because if you don't feed yourself with something positive, if you don't feed yourself with goodness, there will always be something else that's ready there to feed us, you know. And it's usually the negative, you know. It's usually fear. It's usually what the world has to offer, which is lots of negativity. So my point is that after the nurse left, I told my husband, look at him, look how God, now I said, now I actually feel better, that I don't feel bad. I said that I came to give birth 2 weeks in advance, because I know that my baby's gonna be alright, and I know that there was a purpose for me coming into labor early. And I'm not saying that I was happy that I was sick and that, but it was worth knowing that this elderly nurse had just found his life answer, and it was just through a conversation we had. And you never know. Make yourself available for God to use you. You never know who God will touch through your mouth, through your words. You never know, through your story, through your testimony. Make yourself available. Allow yourself for God to use you, and for God to flow through you, to touch people. There's a lot of lonely people out there. There's a lot of desperate, depressed people that just need one word to lift them up, to push them, to help them push through another day and another day. The battery died, so sorry. So like I said, you never know who God is going to bring your way, and allow yourself to be used. Be kind wherever you go, and you never know what people are battling, what people are suffering and struggling. No matter the position in life, people are people. What we do and who we are is completely different, you know. Those are two complete different things. So like I said in the beginning, God always moves with purpose and on purpose. And I hope that I hope that that nurse, having found his life answers, I hope that he also has an encounter with God and turns his life around toward him. Okay, so this is my message, and that wanted to share this story and hope that it encourages you, and that it helps you, but makes yourself available to be used by God, to be kind to people, to be sensitive to people around you, to be sensitive toward people around you, because you never know what people are battling, fighting. So if you like this story, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't, and also hit the bell button. This way you're notified every time I upload a new video. So here we go. I have to get back to my baby, and hopefully next time we see each other I will have another powerful story to tell, or video, or testimony. All right, so be blessed. Bye.